What's up? What's up? What's up? Now, first off, I just want to say thank you guys for having me come out here, flying all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, it's honestly, it's truly amazing to come to your home, Toronto, and just be able to speak. So first off, I just want to say thank you, all right? And I hope everyone in here is having a good night, yeah? Yeah? All right, all right, all right. I like it, I like it, I like it. So, just to start off, my name's Carrick Felix, and over the past 28 years of my life, I've been able to accomplish various different goals and dreams of mine, from playing in the NBA in front of thousands to speaking on stages just like this all across the country. Whether it's athletes who need help trying to find their identities, whether it's the middle-aged mom who wants to redefine purpose, you name it, I've been able to do it. Been able to tackle it, been able to just do whatever I need for them. My vision is to help you guys discover the best version of yourselves, also just to inspire. Now, what I'm here to talk to you guys today about is the word impossible. To occur, to not occur, or exist or be done. This is a word that it's extremely powerful. And I just want you guys to really just think about this word. Just think about what this word does to us as individuals. Why does this one word change our whole lives? Why does this one word bring us so much joy, but it can also bring us so much pain? It doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't make sense why one word has so much power. But think of this, it's not that one word that has so much power, it's fear. It's fear that creates the impossible in our lives. Now, 70 to 80%, okay, 70 to 80% of individuals do not, and I repeat this, 70 to 80% of individuals do not see the finish line, meaning they start things and they don't what? They don't end up finishing. So whether it's reading a book, whether it's starting a class, or for some of you in here, your New Year's resolutions, yeah, 70 to 80%, that means 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 of you in here don't ever see the finish line. Like, why? You have to start asking yourself, why is that? And there's many things that come along with it. We've been told these words at some point in our lives. Now, we've all been told that we would never become. We've all been told that we can't do something. We've all been told that we won't become that person we want to be at some point in our lives, whether it's been indirectly or directly to you. And we've all been told, or maybe some of you have been told, I mean, I've been told this 1,000 times, but my favorite one, we've all been told that you're crazy for thinking you can accomplish that. I mean, I get that a lot. Now, I want you guys to think of the moments in your lives that you've been told you can't, you've been told that it will never work, that one thing that you're trying, that you can't do it. I want you to think of all these moments, and I really want you to say to yourself in your head, okay? I don't want you guys to say this next thing out loud because there's parents here, there's adults, so don't say this next thing out loud, but I want you to tell yourself the impossible, all right? That's what I want you guys to tell yourself is literally, fuck the impossible. Yeah, yeah. Now, the reason why I want you guys to tell yourself, fuck the impossible, is because I want you guys to go back, okay? Go back to when you were a child, when dreams and things that you wanted to do became the impossible. Before you would go to sleep at night, you would dream that your bed was a flying car. Or when you would be at the park, you would think you were in a magical land. Now, to me, why hasn't why hasn't the impossible affected us when we were younger? Why didn't it affect us when we were younger? It's because we didn't have any fear. We weren't afraid. So my next question is, what makes us afraid? Is it because of what he has to say or she has to say or the next person thinks for you? Or is it because of yourself? Why? Now, we all can do many different things, right? There's some things that are possible and there's some things that are not impossible. But one thing that is impossible is being able to run, jump, and fly in the air. If I would jump off this right now, would I fly? No. Nah, someone would catch me, I hope. But would I fly? No. Now, that's impossible. But what's possible is to get the tools, get the knowledge, and build the skills to create whatever that one thing is in your life. To create whatever that one thing is in your life. To make it possible. Now, when I was about 4 years old, 1994, a lot of you are young in here, so that seems like a long time ago. Now, I experienced my first time dealing with what I thought was impossible. So, like any 4-year-old, I enjoyed playing outside. I would run, jump, scream, you name it, it happened. And I had 2 older brothers who were around the same age, so we had a good time. Across the street from my house, I had a park, so it was like going to Disneyland just without paying the Disneyland money, so I was living in heaven. All right, so I was living in heaven. So at this time, my father decided one day that he wanted to teach me a valuable lesson. So I wake up in the morning thinking I'm about to have a great day, and again, I'm 4 years old, so I didn't really have any restrictions. I lived a carefree life. And he brought me upstairs and said, son, today I'm going to teach you how to tie your shoes. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, you guys tied my shoes my whole life. Like, that's fine. So as he began to show me how to tie the shoe, he looped and he did the bunny ears and pulled it tight. He slowly began to stand up. And I'm not really noticing because at this time, my mind's wandering. I'm staring at my shoe like, oh, that's amazing. How'd you do that? But as I look back, I saw my father at the door. I'm just like, oh, what is this? What's going on? And as my father opened the door and began to walk out, he looked at me and said, hey, today, the only way you can go outside and play is you have to learn how to tie your shoe on your own. I was like, me? Tie my shoe? Like, come on, Dad. But he began to say again, you have to learn how to tie your shoe on your own. And he looked at me and he went to close the door. And before he closed that door, he said, son, that one thing that you wanted to do, sometimes it's going to be impossible. And I know that you cannot tie your shoe by yourself. So until then, you can't go outside. So he slammed the door shut. So I'm in this room by myself, and again, think about it. I'm 4 years old, locked in a room by myself. So my mind's wandering, I'm going crazy, I'm freaking out, I'm tying my shoe, I can't get it, and I'm starting to just cry and scream. And luckily, there was this big window in my room where I could look outside, and I got to see my brothers outside playing. Then I got to see all my friends outside playing as well. So now I'm in a mental prison at 4 years old. My dad was pretty rough on us, but it all was a lesson. So I'm in this room, I'm trapped, and there was one moment that I was just like, man, why do I want to go outside? What's the bigger reason why I want to go outside for it? It's because I want to play. And for one moment, I slowed down, and I hit the brakes, and I began to tie my shoe. And as I began to tie my shoe, I did it quick, one-time loop, had the bunny ears, tied it, pulled it tight, and it was literally like a miracle. I had all the weight just go off my back. So I ran to the door, started to scream, Dad, Dad, Dad. He opened the door. I didn't even give him a high five. I just ran. Ran outside, started playing, you name it, it happened. So the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because in life, things happen, right? Things are going to seem impossible. but all the clues are there for us to figure out. My dad showed me how to tie my shoe. There was a path. There was a path that I had to follow, even at the age of 4, which was okay, but it was laid out for me. And until I stopped looking outside that window and worrying about what everybody else thought, that's when what I thought was impossible, I made possible. Now, there's been greats to come before us and show us our path and show us our way. We have Albert Einstein, which, all of you know. We have the Wright brothers, who were the first to fly. We have Helen Keller, who was not only blind and deaf, she was able to read and write. She was taught to read and write, but she couldn't see nor hear. Then we have Rosa Parks, who during her time was one of the first women to be recorded, to stand up for herself during the civil rights movement. We have Stevie Wonder, who was also blind, but is one of the best, one of the greatest musicians of all time. Now, you guys probably don't know who this is, but this is Sir Robert Bannister. And this man right here was the first man to break the 4-minute mile during his time, when at that point, everybody thought it was impossible. We have Dr. Martin Luther King, who had a dream, and his dream was to bring everybody together in equality and peace. We had Henry Ford, a man who was beaten, battered, and no one believed in him, but he had that one thing that he focused on, that one thing, and he made it come true. And now, you guys know Ford cars, Ford automobiles, Henry Ford. Then we have Steve Jobs, who thought outside the box, who wanted to connect all of us through communication, through cell phones, and making it seamless. Now, what was the difference between these individuals and you guys? Literally nothing. Only difference they had is that they had the unbelieving belief in themselves. They believed in themselves more than anybody believed in them. No matter what that dream, goal, or that thing that they thought was impossible. Now, before I end this speech, I'm going to go into a story about somebody that I've known literally my whole life. So I've known this person my whole life, and growing up, this person literally had all the odds stacked against him. When he was 4 years old, this one person was sexually abused by his family, friends, people that were close to him. And not only was this boy sexually abused, he grew up in a home where his mom didn't graduate high school. His father was an alcoholic. His father was an alcoholic who mentally beat, abused his mother day in and day out, and he had to watch that. Now, not only was this boy a part of this horrible family life, this boy had to endure things when he went to school. He couldn't read, he couldn't write, he couldn't spell, he was bullied. That same boy had to stand over his own mother at 16 years old as she tried to attempt to take her own life. Now, we all are like, oh my God, this is so crazy. You guys can lighten up a bit. All right? So, again, this boy then becomes a man and then ventures off to college. And then why this boy's in college, now he's faced with something else. That same boy is now about to become a father. But how can that same boy, who's now a young man, become a father when he didn't have the right path? He didn't have, he had all the odds stacked against him. And not only that, at that time, I believe this young man was living in his car. So not only did he have to be a dad, he was living in his car. But when he had his daughter, it changed his whole life. And he did anything and everything he could to provide for her. In 2013, he made his dreams come true and did everything he ever wanted, had everything he ever wanted. But just like that, it was all stripped away. Just like that, it was all stripped away. He got in a work-related injury, which was surrounded by the one thing that finally pulled him out, of that hole. So for 3 years straight after that, that young man had to endure 4 different surgeries. Went around from doctor to doctor, and each of these doctors had told this young man, hey, I'm sorry, but the thing that you thought was your dream job and your profession, you'll never be able to do again. It'll be impossible for you to get back. Impossible for you to get back to doing what you love to do. Now, you can only imagine. I mean, a lot of you guys can only imagine what was going through this guy's head. He was depressed, he was down, he was low. So where's that guy now? Where is that person right now? That person is standing right here today, right in front of you guys. Now, thank you. Thank you. Now, that same person who was bullied, that same person who was called stupid, that same person that teachers, parents would say, hey, you will never become, you'll never graduate, you can't do something, that same person ended up getting his master's degree from Arizona State. Thank you. Now, that same person who was told that he was going to grow up just so he can live out the same life his dad lived, that was going to be the alcoholic, that same person who was told that he wasn't going to be a good father became a father to his beautiful daughter that he loved so much that he spent his whole life with. But not only that, those doctors who had told that same boy, like, hey, you're not going to get back. It's impossible. Now, during this time, yeah, could have believed it, right? That's a picture of the injury the young man received, right? Broken knee. Doctor said it was impossible. But in 2017, which was a year ago, I was able to get back and make an NBA roster and play for the Washington Wizards. Now, what I want to say to you guys is this. Each of you guys in here, you have your own journey, you have your own story, and I get it. Life can get hard, it can get tough. But today, I'm coming to you guys because I'm walking proof that there is no such thing as impossible. I am walking proof. No matter what story you're telling yourself, you got to divorce it, because I'm walking proof that each and every one of you in here, no matter what you want to do, who you want to become, it's possible. But you have to start believing that. You have to start believing that you can. You got to stop believing that you can't. See, 7 months ago, I walked away from what most would say was my dream job. I walked away to speak, to change lives, to be on stages like this, and I made it possible. So if I can make it possible, you can make it possible as well. So get up, get out, and do whatever you have to do, and know that it's possible. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.